Hi, I'm Julia Alexander, and once again, we're back with our interviews of our City Council at Large candidates. I happen to be with Glenda McCollum. She's also seeking the seat of City Council at Large. We're going to talk with Glenda, and we're going to find out Glenda's #1 platform. We're going to find out about Glenda and what she inspires to do for the city of Joliet. Hi, Glenda. How are you?
Hi there. How are you?
Okay, I'm blessed. Look, thank you so much for doing the interview with me here on today.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to start off. Glenda, tell everyone, all of my listening audience, tell them about you.
Okay.
Okay.
I am Glenda Wright McCollum. I am a lifelong resident here in the city of Joliet. Born and raised, went to school here, graduated from Joliet Central High School, my alma mater, and went on to just recently, well, about 4 or 5 years ago, I obtained my associate's degree from Joliet Junior College and a certificate of achievement for human resources.
All right.
I am a minister. I've been a minister in the city for over 30 years, so I've been in public ministry for a long time.
Serving the people.
Yes, yes. A lot of things that have transpired during the term of my tenure in ministry. A lot of outreaches, youth outreaches, back to school programs, after school programs, tutoring programs, food pantries and food drives, and just things that will connect us with the community and connect us to the people. I received an honorary doctorate of divinity from St. Thomas Christian College in Jacksonville, Florida.
Wow.
And just really have a heart to want to see the city of Joliet thrive and to advance in the things of how it has advanced before.
Absolutely, absolutely. Dr. Glenda McCollum. Okay, so listen, tell my listening audience your platform. So what are you running on? What are you standing for?
My platform is build.
Okay.
I want to build the infrastructure, work on the infrastructure of the city of Joliet, those systems that have been broken down, creating a framework that's going to provide unity. B for building, U for unification, being able to unite the city, unite the communities with what's going on downtown, what's going on in the city, and then be able to involve, get the community involved. I believe that one of the major problems that we face is that individuals feel they don't have a voice. They feel like no one hears, no one listens, and so I want to be that bridge to be able to involve individuals in the things that are going on in the city, even endeavors and projects that are happening throughout the city. And then I want to lead with integrity, lead with honesty, lead with transparency, lead with everything that I have, with all of the attributes and the qualities and the things that have been instilled in my life. I want to lead from that platform, and more than that, I want to leave a legacy for the next generation so that they can learn how to lead. They can see by example who we are and how we lead, and so that when we pass the baton on to them, they're able to carry it and carry on in excellence. And then I want to develop programs that's going to get kids off the street. I want to develop an infrastructure on the southeast side of Joliet, on the south side there, beginning to bring businesses and grocery stores and things that's going to cause people to thrive in their own communities, being able to connect all of that together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes. Well, if you don't know how to spell build, you surely do now. But that leads into asking you this. When you speak of building, you speak of development, economic development. Let's talk about the economic development as far as the pay rate and of the warehouses that's out there, and the way that they're working people. Those are some of the big topics that's really popping up around here. Give me your take on that.
Okay, let me just back up a little bit because in another era, as we were coming through, factories were the things that individuals, they would get a factory job, they made skilled labor. and they were able to make a decent wage in those factories.
Yes.
Well, then we've hit another revolution, so to speak, and so now we're seeing a lot of the warehousing. And while the warehouse employment is rising, and some of the income levels are rising, but there's still such a disparity between individuals being able to make a living wage to where they can handle rent, handle buying a house, the American dream, wanting to purchase a home and have a family and those kinds of things. And so in economic development, I believe that there needs to be some increase to where not only is there a lot of employment, but gainful employment with benefits, fringe benefits, medical benefits, being able to take medical leaves, FMLA, people having family crisis, especially coming off of COVID. You know, being able to have that security to know that I have a stable job and that I can have some of the things that I desire to achieve in life. So I think that is very, very key. And I believe that it will cause the city to thrive even better as a result of bringing about that economic empowerment.
I think you're absolutely right. Now, one of the other things that came up about that is that so the factory jobs are here, the warehouse jobs are here. However, the majority of the people that are making the top pay does not live here in the city. So therefore, that tax dollar is not staying here.
Is leaving out of the community, which is another thing. And along with that, we find that even in our neighborhoods, we find individuals that come into the neighborhoods, come into the communities, set up shops, set up stores, but they don't belong to the community. And then they take the tax dollars and the monies that they make out of the community and take it back into their own communities. One of the other things, though, I believe that attributes to your previous point is that affordable housing.
Yes.
You know, people drive as far as Chicago to get to these warehouse jobs because there is not affordable housing. There's a crunch, and even right now the market, there's such a demand and such a less supply of homes and affordable housing. And so being able to create some affordable housing to where we can keep the tax dollars in the community, keep it in the city, and then that way the city is thriving and the city is growing. At the same token, if individuals are having to drive all the way from Chicago in outlying areas to get to these employment areas, then what's happening even with their income? So they make the money, but then you're spending it in gas, you're spending it in repairs for your automobile and transportation and all of that. So affordable housing could help to suppress and alleviate some of those issues.
And I think you're right. Excuse me. I think you're right because eventually they move here. So that they can be closer, so it will cost less. So
absolutely.
Eventually they move here. So I think those are all fantastic ideas, and they are issues, and they're serious, and they're out there, and they're depending on us in the city of Joliet, thriving as a city in the city of Joliet, and being able to, like you say, have that American dream.
Absolutely.
You know, that we once had before. You know, in retirement, I'm not sure that that's even in the picture anymore. You know, so but that's fine. Another one of the issues.
Can I interrupt? And along with that, one of the things that we do, because I sit on as the vice chairman on the Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. And so what we are doing is we're rolling out as much affordable housing as we can. But let me just give you some statistics here. Back in April, we were building a development called Liberty Meadow. Many people probably know where that is, up off of Briggs Street. The wait list or the application time opened up April 1st. Julia, we had over 650 applicants that applied for 42 units. There were 42 units, 650 applicants only in a 2-week period. That just goes to speak to how much affordable housing is necessary. We redeveloped the Water's Edge down on Displain Street. We demolished the old projects and wanting to upgrade, wanting to, and that was where I grew up.
I know, right?
Down on my end of the street. And so, and that was such a welcome thing, you know, because people now, they can live in experience some of that
Yeah.
upgrade,
Yeah,
you know,
and
in their
home
lives.
ownership feel.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yes.
because they're homes. They're
Yes.
not apartments. They're homes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and actually, Liberty Meadow, after 15 years, then they have the opportunity to become the homeowner.
Oh, really?
Yes, that program is rolling out now.
Wow,
So yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, that's another interview for another time because I do
Okay.
want to ask more questions
Okay,
on that.
all right.
But I can see and we definitely need more of that.
Yes.
We definitely need more. So 600 people for 42 units.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Wow.
Mhm.
That is. Oh wow. So that in itself really shows the disparity in housing.
Yes.
It shows it a great deal when you have that.
Mhm.
But anyway, I'm gonna come back to that one.
Okay.
So let's give a little bit on. Tell me a little bit about how you feel about the trucks, the traffic. You know, that's another big subject that we
Yeah.
have going on here. So give me your take on
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. I believe that, and then when we talk about the truck traffic,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we can't help but to bring up the word
Absolutely.
North Point.
Absolutely.
And so, and there's a lot of controversy
Yes.
going on with that project.
Mm-hmm.
My take on it is that it has a bittersweet connotation.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Bitter in the sense that the truck traffic.
Yeah.
You know, the roadways, and I refuse to even get on Interstate 80
Yeah.
because of all of the
Right.
traffic, and you just
Absolutely.
don't know if you're going to be in a
Right.
parking lot situation,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so that is a real issue
Yeah.
and a real concern.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side of that,
Yeah.
the economic development
Yeah.
that could bring to our city
Yeah.
and the things that we're wanting to accomplish. And so there has to be some way by which we can maneuver to where we come to an amicable conclusion
Okay,
and solution to where we don't just have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know,
Okay.
where we can.
So give me an idea. Give me a take of what you would do.
I think that there has to be a way to reroute traffic.
Okay.
And if there's a way where we can divert the
Okay.
traffic from the high traffic areas
Okay.
and from the homeowner areas or the residential areas is what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
we could divert it somehow to where, and then even putting some mandates on the truckers, putting some things that's enforceable,
Yeah.
that requires certain periods of time, maybe certain hours of the
Yeah.
day, or
Yeah.
or certain maybe at the rush hour time, you know, diverting the traffic. I heard that there was some conversation about building a bridge. I don't know how far that has gone, but even being able to, you know, I remember in Lockport, the Route 7 bridge, that used to be a swing bridge.
swing bridge,
that was
right?
scary
Yes.
bridge. But what they did is they rebuilt that
Yes.
bridge and diverted the traffic. Now it's a wider bridge,
Right.
and most of the traffic is coming
Yeah.
over that newly constructed bridge.
Absolutely.
And the swing bridge just really went out of commission.
commission.
So, but if we could do something like that where we don't just take it out of commission,
Okay.
but divert it maybe with another structure. And I know we're talking about dollars
Yeah.
in order to be able
Right.
to do that, but then you have to look at, weigh it out to
Right.
find out what's going to be the best case scenario.
Yeah, I mean, because anything that I think that we do, it's going to be dollars, but in the long run, what would it benefit?
Absolutely.
You know, in
Yes.
the long run, especially if we know that we're going to continue having the traffic come in that we have,
Yes.
it may behoove us
Yeah.
to
Yes.
spend those dollars now.
Yeah.
rather than later. And that's just my thought. I don't know.
Yeah.
but that's
Well,
my
either
thought.
you're going to
Yeah.
spend it there or you're going to spend it repairing the roads
Absolutely.
continually. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, infrastructure. That was another thing on there that comes in with the trucks, with
Sure.
the North Point. So all of that was in it about the infrastructure and you know, just how it's just really crumbling our city,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
so it has to be something done about that infrastructure. What's your take on that? What would be our best approach to getting the infrastructure done? And do you think that the infrastructure should be done before we allow any more trucks on the road?
I believe there must be a solution to a solution.
Okay.
You know,
Okay, I got you.
You can't solve a problem from the level that it was created.
Yeah.
And so there has to be some things put in place in order to solve and resolve these issues, or at least have some insight as to how we're going to resolve them, and some timelines by which is going to take place, and then structure everything around those timelines so that we have happy campers all over. And I understand that nobody is going to be happy about every decision that's made. I get that.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, being able to really take a look to see, okay, what can we do?
Yeah.
And what route can we take? And what needs to happen first?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
what can we do in terms of, do we have some foresight or some insight as to what these solutions are? And then what's the timeline for rolling those solutions out and then advancing?
Absolutely, absolutely. I want you to look into the camera,
Okay.
and I want you to tell the citizens of Joliet to vote for Glenda McCullum.
You would do well to vote for Glenda Wright McCullum. As I've said, I'm a lifelong resident of the city. I'm domiciled here. I was born here, raised here. I will die here. All of my siblings grew up and moved away from the city. I have been rooted and planted here. My passion is for this city. The whole desire for my running is I want to see advancement. I believe that I can be a voice. I believe that I can be an influence. I believe that I carry the intelligence and the wherewithal in order to make a difference in this city. Not a difference for me, but a difference for the constituents and the residents of this city. Voting for me would mean that you are getting an individual who is transparent. You will be receiving an individual who is trustworthy. You will be receiving an individual who has laid down their life, literally, to accommodate the needs that are necessary in this city. That's my why for running. That's my whole passion and my whole outlook. And more than that, as I alluded to earlier, I grew up on the south side of Joliet. I desire to see that area flourish. And I know that's going to take some time. I know it's going to take some things coming from underneath, because we won't be able to surface it or take it from the top. We're going to have to go underneath to find out, how did we get to this point? How did we get here? What is happening in the city? You know, I had a conversation with one of the long-standing barbers. They call her Miss Lou, down on Chicago,
Yeah.
on Joliet
Yes.
Street. I went and visited her shop, and we had about an hour's conversation where she shared with me, and I asked her, I said, Miss Lou, what happened here? She said, first of all, what happened is the kids grew up. The second thing that happened is that they have nothing to do. They have absolutely nothing to do. The playgrounds were taken away.
Yes.
The school was taken out of the community.
Yes.
The community centers were shut down.
Yes.
The playgrounds were removed. And so the kids have nothing to do. I want to be an advocate that can bring a revitalization to that area. What happened to the grocery stores? There's a whole strip of land that's right there on Chicago Street where we can build grocery stores, where we can build businesses, and where individuals would want to come back into
Yes.
the community.
Yes.
We want to clean up down there. We
Yes.
want to give these kids something to do. These young kids that are out here shooting and killing and gang banging, what's the root of that whole thing? And if we don't do something, Julia,
Absolutely.
these kids that are
Yeah.
7 and 8 years old right
Yes,
now,
yes.
in 10 years, they're going to
Yeah.
be in this place where these 18-year-olds are now. We must do
Yeah.
something different. Every side of the city,
Yes.
we've got north side, south side, east side, west side. If one of those sectors of the city is in despair, is in a place of dire need and not getting the improvement that it
Yes.
needs, it reflects on the whole city.
Entire city, that's right.
And so let's bring things together. Let's do what we need to do. Let's have some town meetings. Let's figure out, let's reason together. Let's come together and figure this thing out. I believe we can.
Absolutely.
We are the third largest city in Illinois.
In Illinois, that's right.
We didn't just get that way
Right.
just overnight and just by not doing things properly. And so that's my whole take take, and I know I went on a rant. But
Well, I believe I hear Glenda saying, "Let's go."
Absolutely.
She's pumped up, she's reared up, she's ready to go. So, and speak of going, let's go and talk about our the water situation.
Okay.
So, give me your take on that. And I know we've already made the deal with Chicago. However, there is people that's concerned about the spike in prices.
Okay.
And so give me your take on that.
You know, I commend, let me start that way by commending the city council for having the foresight and the authorities that be to know that we are running into a situation where we need to do something with our water.
Quick, yes.
That we didn't wait until we got to the last reserves and then it's like, oops, what are we going to do?
Right.
So I really commend them in having the foresight and beginning to roll this thing out, I believe even a couple of years ago.
Absolutely, yeah.
To start looking at what we need to do. And so it's been a progression. It's been a moving. I am an advocate that we had to do something.
Okay.
I don't want to see water prices spike.
Yeah,
There's got to be, and I don't know what the alternative could be, but something that's going to keep our water prices down, our sewer prices down to where we're not overloading, again, the residents with high prices in the water. Sure, there was something that needed to be done, something had to be done, and it had to be done in the time frame by which it was done. But then at the same time, being able to keep things at a minimum.
Right.
And I understand that as advancement comes, as the cost of living increases, you know, things increase. We're not living in 1970 anymore, you know, and the price of things increase, technology increases.
Absolutely.
And so while there may need to be some increase, I'm not sure. Hopefully not. And if I'm elected to the council, I will do everything that I can to keep things at a minimum and to keep things to the point where we don't have to have any increases.
Absolutely. And
if that's feasible.
And you're right, everything increases, so why not increase those salaries?
Right.
You know, we have an array of issues going on right here in the city of Joliet, and one of them happens to be police reform. A lot of people think that there should be some sort of police reform, not necessarily defunding the police.
Right.
Give me your take on that.
I don't agree with defunding the police.
Okay.
If we defund, then where are we going to get our safety and our security from?
Right.
So that, for me, is off the table.
Okay.
Reform, yes, I believe there should be some reform.
Okay.
You know, whenever you become licensed in anything, there's ongoing training. You know, no one just takes on an initiative and get so good in it to where they don't need training anymore. We look at Michael Jordan. He was one of the greatest basketball players that ever lived, but he had a trainer. And he continually trained. I believe that part of that reform needs to be continual training for the police officers. And I'm not sure if anything is in place for that. I used to work as a personnel technician for the city of Joliet, and I handled the police and fire board, the agility test and the psychological testing and all of that. I believe that there should be psychological testing. All of the things that are happening in our world, you know, the police shootings, the attacks against police, you know, it's a thing of where the mental aspect of it has got to be terrible and overbearing. So the psychological aspect, let's get some more psychological testing. Let's learn how to handle what's going on in our world today, because it has truly changed where it used to be officer friendly and all of the little kids looked forward to officer friendly. That is no longer the case anymore. So let's get back to, okay, how do we handle this side of town? How do we handle what's happening in the neighborhood? How do we confront situations where individuals are coming at us with, and I understand protect. I get that. But then it's like, how do we handle the psychological end of that? So I believe there should be more training. I believe there should be more testing. I believe there should be more, maybe even more time off. You know, because if you're on the beat, you know, all this time, and even if you're not a police officer, if you're not in those high level places of employment, you need a break. Everybody needs a break at some point, and so being able to have the break. And so, yes, there should be reform. There should be some mandates put in place, some requirements put in place, some how are you doing, and maybe even some written psychologicals. How would you handle this situation, and what happens in this situation? Beginning to look at those things again and see, how do we move forward?
I thank you so much for doing the interview with me.
Yeah.
I thank you for allowing my listening audience to know who you are, what you plan to do for them and the city of Joliet. One more question now. The seat that you are running for is not just the east side, west side, north side. It is the entire city of Joliet.
Absolutely.
How are you working across the board? As you stated yourself, no, everyone's not going to agree on everything. So how are you working across the board?
Absolutely. I lived far west Joliet.
Okay.
Just recently, I moved back to where I could be closer into the hub of the city. So I live on the west side of the city. I grew up on the south side of the city. I spent part of my childhood on the hill, which is far east side of the city. And so I've had my roots in all of it. And so I understand that the council at large does not just handle just one side of the city. I focused on that because I can see that area needs to really come up. But then there's other areas. I was talking to an individual the other night talking about the things that are happening in the St. Patrick's area. And so we're seeing things move west. And so there would need to be a representation of the whole city. Absolutely.
Okay, absolutely. Well, that's good to know. So you guys, you've heard it. Glenda Wright McCullum. She is running for Joliet City Council at large, and tell them that you need their vote.
I need your vote on April 6th. I'm number 1 on the ballot, so hit number 1. It used to be punch number 1. Now it's write in number 1 on the ballot. And I would really appreciate your vote and your support. And I can guarantee you that I will work as hard for you as I can. I want to work for you. I can't make guarantees about outcomes, but I can make guarantees about what I will endeavor to do.
Well, Dr. McCullum, it has been a pleasure. But listen, do you have any famous quotes or anything that you want our listening audience to know again?
I do, and thank you so much for the opportunity. I believe, Julia, that cities, communities, nations will grow and thrive when the leaders of those nations, cities, and communities understands the needs of its communities and that use wisdom to successfully address those needs, and then exercise proper judgment in order to bring about the favorable outcomes and the desired results.
And wow, that is awesome. And that is a stunning belief, and I think it's also a true belief.
Yes.
So in saying that, I'm going to ask you one more question because you made me come up with this.
Okay.
How about uniting? Are you a uniter?
I am, and I'm a gatherer.
Okay.
I have always been a gatherer.
Okay.
That's just something that always rests with me. I'm a gatherer. I'm a peacemaker.
Okay.
And so that's the thing that I was talking about, having town meetings. Let's get together. Let's talk. If we can talk through our situations, because conflict does not always mean we have to divide.
Absolutely.
It's not always destructive. Conflict simply says that we have a disagreement, and so let's come to the table to discover where the disagreement is, where the underlying things are, and see if we can come away with some reasonable outcomes.
Okay, analyze the situation and microscope it and look at it and then come up with the remedy, sort of like the COVID-19.
Yes,
and come up with the solution for it. And that's awesome, and that's what I think that the citizens of Joliet is looking for in any candidate.
Yes.
Transparency. How are you feeling about transparency?
Oh, absolutely. Over the top. Yes.
All right. Okay.
An open book. My life is an open book. It always has been an open book. And I always say, You can't tell it. Let me tell it.
Let me tell it. That's
I'll
right.
be the first to tell it.
Well, you know what? No one can tell your story like you can.
Absolutely.
Okay. So once again, thank you so much for doing this interview. You guys, you heard Dr. Glenda Wright McCullum running for City Council at large for the city of Joliet to serve the entire city of Joliet.
Yes.
And with honesty, openness, and transparency.
Yes.
And that is one of her platforms, and that's what she's been speaking on today. You heard it all through her conversation. And the part that I like is that I like when she says, I want to get to the what we used to say, the nitty gritty of the situation. In order to solve anything, you have to find out what's causing it.
Yes.
So that you can put a stop to it.
Yes.
And so thank you once again.
You're
God
so
bless
welcome.
you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, I'm Julia Alexander, and once again, we're back with our interviews of our City Council at large candidates. I happen to be with Glenda McCullum. She's also seeking the seat of City Council at large. We're going to talk with Glenda, and we're going to find out Glenda's #1 platform. We're going to find out about Glenda and what she inspires to do for the city of Joliet. Hi, Glenda. How are you?
Hi there. How are you?
Okay, I'm blessed. Look, thank you so much for doing the interview with me here on today.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to start off. Glenda, tell everyone, all of my listening audience, tell them about you.
Okay.
Okay.
I am Glenda Wright McCullum. I am a lifelong resident